Good evening. I'm George Herbig, Chief Forecaster here with Weather Now, Kentucky. We got an update for you regarding multiple snow systems, really. Um, so again, hang on, I'm just looking at something real quickly. On the road? Okay, there we go. But anyway, Kentucky, the question tonight is, are we entering a busy winter pattern? Because the latest runs are finally starting to show something worth watching, maybe even multiple times. We've got three systems lined up. And one of them, especially Tuesday, is starting to look pretty interesting. Now, before we do dive into the information, make sure you drop your location in the chats there, both on YouTube and Facebook. Make sure you're liking and sharing the broadcast on YouTube and Facebook. That helps us a ton. And just overall, say hello as you're coming in so we can greet you and we can know who's here watching with us. We'll give it probably 20, 30, maybe 45 more seconds before we get started on things. My bit rate is everywhere. Let me go ahead and fix that real quickly. But again, of course, as you're coming in, say hello, share the broadcast. There's a share button over there on Facebook. Share it to your news feed so that way your friends and family can view it. Helps us grow as well. Thank you very much for your help with that. Just going to fix something with the broadcast here because it seems to be a little wonky at the moment. I mean, it should be fine on your all's in, but I'm just trying to make sure it stays fine. All right, there we go. Oh my goodness, there's so many people in here already. Thank you guys again for all of your likes and shares. Alicia, thank you for your 20 stars. I appreciate that. Thank you for sending some stars on Facebook. Again, if you're just now hopping in here with us, I'm George Herbig, Chief Forecaster here with Weather Now, Kentucky. I think we got multiple setups to talk about here tonight with you. And yes, they are snow and rain setups. So we'll talk about where our general feelings are on some things. I have a snow map ready for you guys as well to kind of talk about some things. So we got a lot. I mean, we got a lot. This is a loaded broadcast. Hope you guys got your drinks, your leftover turkey, because we might be here for a minute, just a full transparency moment with you. Just because, again, there are a lot of moving parts here. We're starting to flip more from the rain thing more toward a winter pattern. But there's a lot of moving parts with that transition. And then after you get through the transition, there's a lot of moving parts with the result of everything. So again, I'm going to give it about 20 to 30 more seconds. Allow folks to get in here that want to be in here and watch it live. If you're watching this on playback later, of course, you can skip through some portions of the broadcast, get to your favorite stuff. I'm going to greet some people while we're waiting. So of course, make sure you drop your location, say hello in the chat. And then of course, while we're waiting, if you wouldn't mind, share the broadcast. Alicia, thank you for another 200 stars. Says hello from Cecilia. Thank you very much, Alicia. I appreciate that. Dazed and Confused Blonde on YouTube says, hope everyone is feeling better. We're doing great. Now, we just got through Thanksgiving, so hopefully everyone's still doing pretty great in a couple of days. Johnny's from Somerset. Alicia, hello out of Cecilia, Kentucky. Felicia says, hello from Stanton. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Yes, happy late Thanksgiving to everyone. We are finally feeling better. And before we host our Thanksgiving, we make sure we sanitized everything, cleaned everything, top to bottom, had air purifiers rolling. So hopefully nothing got spread around. Mega says, hello from Prestonsburg. Good evening to you, Alicia. Hello. If anyone new is hopping in here, once again, you have not missed anything. We're just giving it a few more moments to allow folks to get in here. It's only 8:02. I'm still seeing a lot of the likes and shares going up. So usually when those are still going up, we know people are still coming in here. That's a good. We've been doing this long enough. I kind of know what the measuring stick is, right? Nerman says hello from Bowling Green. By the way, let me make sure I can see our YouTube stuff real quickly because for some reason on Restream, our YouTube stuff isn't working. I can see Facebook perfectly fine. I can see the chat on YouTube, but I just can't see anything else. So I'm just trying to make sure I can. Okay. I guess we're just not going to be able to see it. That's fine. Okay. Really good. Really good. Okay. Let's go ahead and do the intro once more here and then start hopping into things. So again, I'm George Herbig, Chief Forecaster here with Weather Now, Kentucky. I think we have multiple events to talk about here. Now we'll focus on one event in particular on this broadcast, but I will briefly touch on the next 7 to 10 days ahead. All I can say is it's about to get a little bit rowdy here. It's about to get a little bit rowdy here. There's gonna be some of you that are gonna be really mad. There's gonna be some of you that are really happy. That said, let's go ahead and start diving into some things here. Thank you guys again for all the shares and the broadcast and the likes on the broadcast on YouTube and Facebook. Our YouTube has been blowing up the last couple of days, so thank you guys again for all of your help with that. Our goal is never to leave Facebook, so don't be worried. Even if we do blow up on YouTube, we're never leaving Facebook. Our goal is just to expand our footprint a little bit. So let's go ahead and pull up the model data here because I want to start with this. I'm going to refresh this real quickly before I do start because the live broadcast studio here is being really behind. there we go. Perfect. All right. So we got a lot to talk about. I'm going to start with tomorrow. Obviously, I'm going to go kind of in order here. Now there's been a lot of stuff going around about tomorrow. And one of my biggest gripes is just posting raw model data without adding any context. Now, there's been a lot of people, even in our own state, doing that. So I want to go through tomorrow and kind of explain to you what's happening for Saturday. So on your screen right now is Saturday morning. You'll see a rain to snow line is pushing in toward Western Kentucky, toward Illinois, Indiana, and this is gonna drop a lot of, and I mean a lot of snow to our north. I mean, Kentucky just barely missed out on one of the biggest non-winter storms in a while. I mean, you guys got to remember, a lot of people don't know for some reason, winter does not actually technically start until December 20th. So yes, this is a non-winter wintry storm that's going to be happening. And it's going to drop a lot of snowfall to our north there. I mean, Kentucky really genuinely just barely missed out on things when it comes to Saturday. Tuesday, I think we have a little bit more fun if you're a snow lover, but just wait, we'll get to that one here in a moment. So for Tuesday, I think we may start out as a few snowflakes, maybe a mix of snow, sleet, and rain. I don't really see, I know there's been a lot of concern about some freezing rain. I don't really see that because, and then again, I'll break this down for you. I think we have a little bit of a warm nose coming in at both the surface and above our heads. So not really having any two major concerns. Matter of fact, overall, guys, this has shifted a little bit more north than anything. It has almost cut us out of even rain. So, I mean, we went from, I will say, let's go back to like maybe an old run here from a couple of days ago. This is an older run from a couple of days ago. And you'll see just kind of how it's changed. See how there's a lot more rain with it, maybe some more snow, maybe some more sleet. If you look at the newest, brand new model run here, there's not a whole lot with Saturday. Now, some cold rain, maybe a few flakes when it starts. If you're out there in far western Kentucky, like let's say, let me pull up the map here. If you're in far western Kentucky, like, let me clear all this out. I was looking at some things earlier. Weatherwise keeps adding updates, and I keep having to like go back and check it because there's so many updates that they come out with. Now, we'll say if you're out here in like far west Kentucky, like Paducah, Clinton, Benton, maybe Murray, you may see a brief inch of snowfall on Saturday when that first starts, maybe. But by the time you switch over to rain, really, and that switch over should be pretty rapid, it'll wipe out. Really don't see any major concerns there. Now, if you're up here in northern Kentucky, Walton, Independence, Crittenden, maybe the far northern 3 counties right there towards Cincinnati, again, may see an inch or so. Don't really see any real impacts from Saturday. So I wanted to touch on that before we got to the Tuesday, the main storm here. Hang on. Sorry. But so I just want to touch on that real quickly because there's been so many, my goodness. And yes, you're probably going to see it at some point, so I will address it. I did get into a little debacle with Chris Bailey on X earlier because I'm tired of seeing regular snowfall models being posted without any context added to them. It's getting on my nerves. So again, that I don't really see a whole lot with that. Again, there could be a few flakes on the front edge, mainly just a cold, annoying rain on Saturday, Sunday as well. Maybe a few slick spots Sunday night, just from a potential dropping below freezing a little bit. Maybe more on sidewalks, on grassy areas, just from the leftover rain that may be sitting on the ground when temperatures go below freezing. Again, don't really see a whole lot with that one. The main show to me, the main potential, I should say, really, is Tuesday. Tuesday to me is our first, I guess, real threat since the wintertime of last year. Now, we did see a snow system. What was it, a couple of weeks ago that dropped a little bit of snow in some places. Some places even got a couple of inches of snow. But again, that wasn't really a big time system. This has the potential to get there. And I'll break that down for you. Brandon, thank you for your 20 stars. I appreciate that on a 4-week streak. Make sure I didn't miss anybody else's. Thank you, honey. That's my wife, so I can call her honey, so no one freak out. But anyway, let's see here. Back this up a little bit. Last time I thanked her and I said honey, someone said you shouldn't be calling girls honey. Well, if I marry them, maybe. But anyway, so that's why I wanted to kind of clear that up. Anyway, let's get back onto the weather here. Advance this forward. Here's the outlook for Tuesday. So I'm just going to show you real quickly, and then we'll break it down. So you'll see Kentucky's in a little bit more of that snow zone for Tuesday. This will probably start in the morning, going to the afternoon and the evening as of right now. Now that timing can change, so I'm not going to answer specific timing questions because again, this is 72, 96 hours out. So a lot of these smaller details are going to change, but I feel a little bit more confident today than I did in previous days because the setup that it just makes sense. Like I know sometimes in the weather world, guys, us forecasters, meteorologists, other things, we can really overcomplicate, really overcomplicate um forecast and weather systems. This one, it just makes sense if we're keeping it simply. And here's why. Snow systems, especially in the wintertime, obviously, they don't really like to go where snow systems have already just recently been. So, for example, here's the European model snowfall outlook for that Saturday system. Obviously, we miss out on that one in Kentucky. That's not our one that we're paying attention to. We're paying more attention to the Tuesday system, but we need to look at what is happening Saturday. So, if we look at what's happening Saturday, we need to look at where maybe the 2 to 3 inches or more of snow is occurring. So we look at that and we can see that's happening in central Missouri, central Illinois, central Indiana, and to the north, right? So we know that this next system, at the very least, is not going to go any more north than the bottom row of the snow map. Now, it can happen and sometimes does happen, but it's a little bit more on the rare side. So, very simply put, we know that the weather, especially in the wintertime, works as dominoes. They follow the next one. But they will go south. They don't like to go where snow has just recently been. It's too cold. Moisture dries out, doesn't get its energy going. It will instead usually scoot just south of it. So it's very important to note. I also want to point out that on Saturday, the reason we don't expect to see any real so what I want. The reason we don't expect to see any real snowfall from this, actually it was the one, is if you go and look about a mile above our heads on Saturday, you'll see that the winds are actually from the west or south to the north. So you're actually having a warm air push in above our heads. And if you look, it says we're 3 degrees Celsius, which means we're 3 degrees above freezing. So that's why I don't really see any real snow threat for Saturday. Now, the difference is if you look at Tuesday and or going to Sunday into Tuesday, you'll see we're actually below freezing. The winds are out of the west to the east, so they're not directly south to north like they were, bringing and pushing in that Gulf warmth air, right? If we get closer to Monday night and Tuesday morning, you'll see that that warm nose does come back up again. So this is why Southern Kentucky is likely going to miss out on this. I'm just going to tell you that off the rip here. If you're in Southern Kentucky toward Tennessee, I would not bank on anything out of this. Matter of fact, I would bank on a miserable rainfall. But if you look at what happens Tuesday morning, as that low pressure begins to get out of Middle Tennessee and move into the Appalachian Mountains, that wind field has now switched back. So when you're looking at these what we call wind barbs here, you're looking from where the flag is to where the end is, where nothing is happening. That's your wind direction. So right now we're going southwest northeast. This is warm air being pushed into Kentucky Tuesday morning, right? And as we go into later Tuesday morning, look at the wind direction now. It's west to east. This is no longer a warm air being pushed in. This is now a colder air being pushed in. And if you look toward the end of the snow event, it's straight north to south. So we do have a better setup. It just makes sense. It just makes sense that Tuesday should produce snowfall in Kentucky. Now, how much snowfall, the exact precise timing, of course, since we're beyond 3 days out, we won't talk about that too much. But what I will show you is the current snowfall confidence map that I just created before the broadcast. But it just makes sense the way that this setup is going to go for Tuesday. It's an Appalachian rider, which is basically a low pressure. Let me go ahead and zoom this out and show you. Let me pull my drawing tool here. We'll go with red because that's a classic low pressure system. So the first low pressure for Saturday, Sunday, make sure you guys can see everything that I'm seeing here. It's actually going to go somewhere in here. Now, this is not going to be perfect, but it'll go something like that ish. A secondary low below it, and it's going to produce snowfall basically all around right in here ish. I mean, look how close it's going to get real close to Kentucky, but it's going to miss us. This means that the second low that we're talking about that wants to go basically up there with that one is trying to shoot up there with that low. It's trying to, but it's not going to because there's too much snow on the ground right here. So in essence, it's going to have to swing, which basically means it's going to try and go up this way. Now, there are multiple scenarios to this. I can tell you that Kentucky can see all the way up to 8 inches out of this on Tuesday. A lot of snow. On the same hand, Kentucky can see all the way as little as a dusting. And it's going to be because of this low pressure track. So what I want to show you is the different scenarios that we have available to us here. First scenario is this low pressure scoots up into, let's say, Murray out there in Western Kentucky and then tries to scoot over. Well, that would be basically rain for almost the entire state except for the far northern rural counties like Louisville, Cincinnati, Owensboro, northern Hardin County, going out to Brandenburg, Meade County, Hardinsburg, all those places. That would be snow in that scenario. But this would be all rain. That's scenario number one. Okay. This is scenario number two. Low pressure can get to about Western Tennessee, scoot over, and then go up. This would be the bigger snowfall scenario. It would include basically all of this area, pretty much a lot of this area. Let's go like right there. This would be a big snowfall for a lot of folks in Kentucky. We're talking maybe not big. It depends on what your terms of big are. Okay. 2 to 4 inches of snowfall out of folks. Higher zones could see 3 to 6 inches, right? So again, that's your more perfect scenario for a lot of folks that can get in on it, that want to get in on it. There's another scenario out of this as well. Now, this one doesn't look very likely, but it can go all the way over to Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, and then up the Appalachians. And then at that point, Kentucky would not see a thing at all. Rain, snow, sleet, whatever. Okay. I don't see that one happening because, again, it's trying to get up there and meet with its other buddy. So usually what happens as a result of this is this low pressure will get to somewhere around Memphis, somewhere in here. Okay. And then you got two options at that point for this low pressure, right? Our low pressure is right here. Let's do like a little bit like that. Two options happen here. And we see it all the time. We see it all the time in Kentucky. It's either going to go up until about Bowling Green and then over out to Eastern Kentucky and then out. Or it's going to make a perfect curve right up the Appalachian Mountains. Now, I can tell you last year, a situation like this happened and it came up into about Nashville and then scooted over, and it was a huge snowfall for Louisville, Radcliffe, Elizabethtown a little bit, getting over toward Frankfort, Lexington, so on and so forth. But there's more cold air available. So it's not going to be that big. So last year it went like that. This year it could go toward Murray and then up and over. It can go up and over here. It can go wide. I mean, my point is that it's too early to talk about amounts because there's too many scenarios still on the table. But I can show you our snowfall map that we have made and our confidence map, and I'm going to break down some more of the model here with you. And we have another potential system to talk about on December 6th, but I do want to give you a quick message from our sponsors real quickly. After that, I'm going to show you the snow map, answer some questions, and talk more about the potential snowfall Tuesday and maybe again next Saturday. Takes 2 minutes, hang out. Maybe you guys will find something you like here. They support us and allow us to be here free 24/7. So I hope you guys hear them out and maybe find something you like.
Hey, Kentucky and Indiana farmers, storms are coming, but Right Implements got you covered. From John Deere tractors that plow through the rainstorms to steel blowers that clear the mess, they've got the gear to keep you working when the weather won't. Swing by one of their 15 locations or hit rightimp.com. That's rightimp.com. Right Implement, built for the forecast, ready for the field. Are you traveling through Brandenburg or live nearby? Give your pet the royal treatment at Creature Comfort Inn. Family owned and operated since 1997 with clean kennels, daily playtime, and love like home. Their pickup and drop off hours can fit nearly any schedule. And for your first day, if you mention W&K, you get to save 10% off. Creature Comfort Inn, where tails never stop wagging. Call 270-422-1020 or visit creaturecomfortin.com. We all know Kentucky winds are howling, storms are rolling in. Don't let Mother Nature tear down your dreams. At FBI Buildings, they've created tough post frame pole barns, equestrian arenas, and custom storage since 1989 to withstand it all. From Hosville to your backyard, their designs keep you safe and operational, rain or shine. Ready to build strong? Call 270-927-8441 or visit FBIbuildings.com for a free quote. FBI Buildings, engineered for Kentucky tough. Hardin County, when the hell's pounding and winds are raging, your roof doesn't have to take the hit. Hyper Roofing in Elizabethtown is your storm damage pros. They offer fast repairs, full replacements, and new installs with top-tier materials. They back it all with industry-leading warranties on Owens Corning and GAF systems, plus transparent pricing and free inspections. Don't wait for leaks. Call 270-370-1340 or visit hyperroofing.com today. Hyper Roofing, overbuilt for Kentucky weather. Once Upon a Child values your time and your budget, which is why they're bringing you the best deals on top name brands for kids' clothes, shoes, toys, and baby gear. Whether you're looking to upgrade your kiddo's closet or expand the playroom, Once Upon a Child's got you covered with a huge selection of like new kids stuff. And the best part, It's all priced up to 70% less than retail prices. Save big on kids' clothes, shoes, toys, and gear. Get more for less at Once Upon a Child today in E-Town or on Outer Loop in Louisville. Attention thrift lovers. Sweater weather is upon us. Is your wardrobe ready for fall and winter? Don't stress. Plato's Closet Elizabethtown has all the styles you want from the brands you love. Want more good news? Their affordable prices mean you can get more looks for less. So, what are you waiting for? Green and I love this place. Go save money on all the hottest fall and winter looks at Plato's Closet Elizabethtown.
I gotta say, it is really weird. When I'm on those ad breaks like that, it is really weird to just watch myself there for however long I gotta. What is it, 2 minutes, something like that. But anyway, again, I want to thank our sponsors real quickly because again, guys, they are the real reason we can be here for you 24/7. Them along with your all support. So I really do hope you guys consider supporting them in any way you guys can, whether it's liking their social media or following them, or going and purchasing something from them. Again, thank you to all of our sponsors. I appreciate them so much. Now, what I want to do is kind of show you our snowfall confidence map, and then I'm going to talk a little bit more about the model data, looking into next Saturday as well, another potential snow clipper system. And then I'll talk about, or I'll get to some of your questions, okay? Now, I did make an error on this map. I have to fix it, okay? This should read 75%, this big right where my cursor is. I have to fix it, don't worry. This is a, what do they call that? I can't even remember what it's called. I can't even remember what it's called. A mock-up. We use that word, okay? But anyway, and honestly, you guys know I don't like making snowfall maps outside of that 72-hour window because it is truly not a dart throw in the dark because we do have some idea. But when you allow the short range models to get a hold of a storm system, you get a lot better accuracy. They're not perfect, but a lot better. But right now, this is my confidence of at least 1 inch of snow occurring on Tuesday. Okay. Now I will say there are some places I think that are going to meet winter storm criteria, winter storm warning criteria, which is 4 inches or more within a 12-hour period, or is it 24-hour? One of the two. But and I do think that will occur. I can't say where right now because again, that's going to shift a whole lot. These types of systems that we're talking about for Tuesday usually end up with a deformation band on the backside. What that is a heavier band within a snow system that can sit there and stall for several hours that can produce some additional accumulations. That almost always happens when we have a low pressure to our north, low pressure to the south, riding up the Appalachians, getting kind of swirled around. We almost always have a deformation band on the backside, which I think, matter of fact, I'll come back to that map here in just a second. Don't worry. Which I think the European model is trying to pick up on. If you see this darker blue here, usually it happens close to the mix line. There will be an area that has plain cold rain. Let me zoom into local view here. What am I doing? I will come back to the map. Don't worry. Okay. But you'll see we'll have an area of rain. If you're in southeastern Kentucky, even though you're higher up on the elevations, I do feel very confident you're going to be basically seeing all rain out of this. So Somerset, London, Monticello, Albany, down there to the southeastern corner of the state. I almost feel 100% confident you're going to see nothing but rain out of this unless we see a drastic shift to the south, which I don't really see happening. But you almost always get a deformation band to occur right next to the sleet or mix line. So this pink purple that you're seeing here is that mix. The darker blues are your heavier snows, darker greens are your heavier rains. Now, I do want to point out, we've only looked at the European model so far. The GFS model is pretty similar, but it's a little bit more north with things. Matter of fact, on this run, it's way north with things. I don't see it be, that's too far north in my opinion. Where's the older run? This is the older run right here. Hang on. Yeah, it's a little bit more south. That makes a little bit more sense. Yeah, that makes a little bit more sense. So you'll see that the confidence is highest in the northern counties, essentially because no matter which model that you look at here, you're going to see them covered in snow at some point throughout the model run on Tuesday. Okay. So again, if you're looking at this graphic and wondering how we got to it, I want to point out we got to this because I've seen this system occur several times in our state. And out of those several times, thinking back on it today and yesterday a little bit, although yesterday I was doing more eating than thinking, but thinking about it more today, this system almost always results in about the I-64 corridor area seeing the heavier snowfall, at least on the track that it's currently projecting. Now, if that track moves to the south a little bit, obviously that heavier snow or that heavier confidence there, that moves to the south a little bit. right? But this is almost how almost always ends up. We had almost this exact same system last year and toward the end of January, or I guess earlier this year toward the end of January, and it was almost this exact result. Um, so again, this is my confidence of at least 1 inch of snow occurring. Obviously, you can kind of make the leap there and realize that I think the heavier snow is going to occur in that pink zone, then around the dark blue, then the light blue may see lighter amounts. The white zone, I think, is where mainly rain's going to set up, or some mix of rain and sleet, not necessarily snow. You may see a few flakes, but as of right now, and this can I want to point out there too, this can absolutely change if we see a difference in timing, a difference in how those winds are coming in above our head. Remember, we looked about a mile above our heads at the wind direction. If that shifts a little bit, it's going to move some temperatures around that may indicate more snow or more rain, depending upon how that temperature falls on the 32-degree line, right? So there are a lot of factors with this that can absolutely change the outcome that we can expect to see. So that's why I didn't make a snowfall map yet of amounts. I just made kind of a confidence type of thing. But again, as of right now, you can make that leap and kind of connect the two dots and realize that I see that purple area as the highest zone of snowfall, blue area as the second highest, light blue third highest, and then white area, I'm seeing more of just a rain, cold rain for you, maybe some sleet, maybe some snow, unless a drastic shift occurs, right? And vice versa, this could go a little bit more north than we're expecting right now, and it pushes all the zones up to the north. So again, there are a lot of moving parts here. If this system pans out how we're thinking, I do expect some impacts from this. We're talking about roads for schools, we're talking about a lot of slick spots, talking about maybe some power outages, but just because I think there's gonna be a little bit of wind with this, a heavier wet snow can stick a little bit better to those power lines once the temperature does drop below freezing. I do think for a period of this snow system for the beginning, even if you're seeing snow, I think we will be above freezing. So I want to point that out there as well. I think we will be 33 to 35 degrees, even if you're seeing snowfall. It's the backsides of the system that I think the temperature really starts to drop. And then almost as soon as the snow stops, I think our temperature starts to plummet into the mid to lower 20s on Tuesday night going into Wednesday morning. So I think a flash freeze can set up. So I do think there are some impacts that can be expected from this. Where those impacts set up, guys, your guess is as good as anyone's right now. But I do think historically speaking, we've had this system come through Kentucky 2 or 3 times a year for the last several years. It's always a battle of the temperature line, 32 degrees, and it's also a battle of where that low pressure exactly tracks through. And the majority of the time, this is kind of the result that we see. So this is kind of why I leaned toward this map here. I will say the heavier amounts will probably be somewhere in the 3 to 6 inch amount zone or zone area. I think we'll see a lot, no matter where this kind of sets up, or if it sets up perfectly, anyway, I should say, we'll see a lot of 2 to 4 inch amounts. So I do expect that by Monday night, we'll begin to start seeing winter storm watches and winter weather advisories being issued. And then by Tuesday morning, when we have that last model run before the snows really starts Tuesday afternoon, we may see some winter storm warnings come out and winter weather advisories additionally added to that as well. That would be what I would be expecting right now. Again, right now, my best guess is that purple area ends up with the heavier snowfalls, especially toward Lexington, Frankfort, Owenton, Maysville, out there toward Moorhead, that I-64 corridor area. I think that's where right now, if I had to put my money on it, which is not a lot, but if I had to put my money on it, that's where I would say the heavier snowfalls would be. And then back up there toward where that purple band kind of stretches, that's where I'm expecting maybe a deformation band to kind of set up a little bit there. But again, I'm not even going to say this can't change. I'm going to say expect changes to this forecast. This is a very premature forecast. Honestly, I don't like making these maps this early. I made it simply because I knew there would be a ton of questions tonight about it. But again, this is kind of where we're at right now with snowfall confidence. Now, I did mention briefly that there could be a system next weekend as well. This would be more of a lighter system, in my opinion, more of a clipper type of system. You kind of see it here on the model data. I'm not going to talk about it too much because this is like, 8 days out, something like that. So again, I'm not going to talk about it a whole lot, but you can see here another messy clipper type of system may set up in Kentucky. Could be another few inches of snowfall. It could be cold rain. It could be a sleet storm. It could be any of those, all three above there. All right. I just wanted to kind of point that out. I also want to point out that temperatures are about to get really cold. Okay, we're kind of mild through this weekend, low 40s. Maybe again before that kind of Sunday, Monday time frame hits, we may actually warm up to the mid 40s, which will be pretty pleasant. And then we kind of come back down toward that winter time. And by the way, this is colder than average. A lot of people once we get to like that Thanksgiving December time frame, a lot of people just forget that winter does not start until December 20th near Christmas. That's when winter technically starts. So yes, this is technically below average conditions for this time of year. Okay. So again, here are the temperatures for Monday and Tuesday. This is about the time that I expect the storm system to start, the potential snow system to start on Tuesday around 9 to 12, 9 a.m. to noon. Again, that timing can absolutely change. You'll see the temperatures are very borderline, right around that 32 mark, which is very important. That 32 marker is not just thrown out there to make us think that's freezing. That is the freezing line. So 32 degrees is very important. So again, a lot of us will probably warm up to about 33 to 34 degrees on Tuesday before we crash down. Here's the end of the snow event, and you'll see how the temperatures just crash down. And if we have a snowpack on the ground and the clouds open up, temperatures will absolutely go about 5 to 6 degrees colder than what's shown right here. So again, you have to keep that in mind as well. And then we kind of warm up a little bit throughout the rest of the week. And then we stay pretty just stay marginal really at best. And then Friday, of course, next week may warm up a little bit more there, and then we just crash down for the weekend again. And then this model tries to show us getting extremely cold by December 12th. I mean, look at those temperatures there. But I want to point out, and this is a perfect example to show you. Look at Pikeville, -1 degrees, right? At 340 hours out. So it's probably really inaccurate. If I go to the GFS model at the exact same time, 340 hours out, 50 degrees in Pikeville. This is why you don't post raw computer model data on any kind unless you get within a 3-day time period, because again, it's just throwing a dart at it. So if you ever see a model image on any site that looks a little bit suspect or is further than, let's say, 48 to 72 hours out, don't look at it and think it's 100% accurate. Okay. Now, I know sometimes I will post some 3 to 4 days out, but I will also provide a lot of context with that. There's just been a lot of people, even in our own state, that are posting these model data pictures, just trying to get you to click it because Facebook is paying more money to those people that get clicks. Okay. It's a flat out truth. It's a flat out truth. And honestly, there's no way to police it. It's up to you guys to just realize that those people, that's what those people are doing. All right. So I'm not going to go on my whole soapbox about it. I just wanted to point that out and let you guys know. Just be careful what you're looking at. Just be careful what you're looking at. All right. Let's get to a few questions now at this point. Pull up our snowfall confidence map again. I'll get to a few questions. Thank you guys again for all the star donations. Lisa, thank you for your 50 stars on Facebook, and anyone else that may have donated. Thank you very much. I want to point out real quickly as well. I'm not going to say snowfall amounts for specific counties, specific areas at this point, because again, I think it's premature. Sarah says, do you think it will affect roads during the day on Tuesday at Bardstown, Kentucky? Now, that is a possibility. Absolutely. But again, it's going to depend on a lot of things: low pressure track, timing, the way those winds are coming in about a mile above our heads. But I will say, Bardstown, I believe, is in that pink zone there. Probably a good bet of some impacts. I will say, I think, depending upon, we have to get a little bit closer. But by about Sunday, if the models are still looking pretty aggressive on this, I think we'll see a lot of road companies out there, or not companies, but a lot of road crews out there brining the roads. I think that's going to be a smart decision because, especially right now, for example, in that pink zone, this should not start as rain. So the brine should be pretty effective on that. Now, if you're in that blue zone or white zone, I think brine's probably not the smart move because it will start as some sort of rain and wash it off at first. But as of right now, for example, if this is the map like we're rolling with for Tuesday, if this is the map we're rolling with for then, I could see a lot of brine being thrown down. Yes, we are live on YouTube right now as well. What are your thoughts on Columbia? Again, I'm not going to get into specific snowfall amounts. You obviously fall in the white zone here. I think it's more so going to be a rain event for you. Maybe some snow mixed in. You're very close to that light blue amount or light blue color as well. In your opinion, could the track shift enough to include Albany in some snow? The track could shift, and it probably will shift quite a bit. I don't know if it'll shift that much to include Albany in the snowfall. Again, I think the only thing I'm probably really certain about, unless we see a very, very dramatic shift, is that Southern Kentucky and Southeastern Kentucky specifically probably is not going to see any snow out of this. Again, I'm not going to get guys, I'm not going to get in all the city and counties individually because again, it's premature. This is more of a general overview type of broadcast here. Again, I can't really get into amounts right now because it's very I'll show you, for example. It's just easier to show you than to tell you on why we're not answering about amounts because I think it's very premature. Um, yeah, let's roll with 12Z is fine. I don't really care. Let's go for like 130 hours out. Okay. So this is the snowfall. Why did that just change? Oh, because it pulled the 18Z run. So this is the expected snowfall from the GFS over the next 132 hours. Okay. You'll see it's mainly up there in northern Kentucky toward Indiana. This doesn't make any sense to me, by the way. I really, the GFS model, I don't understand why so many people keep posting it because it continues to do terribly in the wintertime. But again, that's its idea. Here is the European model, right? Looks a lot different, a lot more south, has E Town as the big breadwinner at 4 inches of snowfall. Okay. Here's the Icon model, has almost 7 to 8 inches of snow occurring just south of where our biggest zone was, toward Lexington, Richmond, Berea, Moorhead, out there toward Ashland, Kentucky. Again, has 8 inches of snowfall there. 7 inches in Lexington, 5 inches in E Town, 4 inches in Bowling Green. I'll tell you, this run to me does not make a whole lot of sense either. Specifically speaking, here is the UK Met model. This model makes a little bit of sense to me, just historically speaking, on how these systems usually perform in Kentucky. And you'll see it's drastically different once again. Here's the Icon model, heaviest snow is here. Here's the UK Met model, heaviest snow here. The only one consistent that we have seen so far out of all this is actually Elizabethtown at 4 inches of snowfall. That's the only consistent that we've seen out of this whole thing so far. Here's the European AI model, a lot lighter with amounts, 1 to 2 inches. Louisville, E Town, Lexington, same areas kind of as the UK Met there, a little bit of a blend between the UK Met and the Icon model. Here's the blend of models from the National Weather Service, 1 to 2 inches of snow for mainly the northern half of the state. So again, there are a lot of inconsistencies. So answering questions about amounts right now is would be stupid, honestly, because again, there's just so many inconsistencies. The one consistent in this is the northern row of counties toward about the middle portion of the state. And that's basically where we made our confidence map at. So I just kind of wanted to show you it could be anywhere between 0 to 8 inches, for example, for some places. Yeah, I mean, Owensboro's in our blue zone. I think Owensboro probably sees some stuff. No, I did not say. See, this is why I hate showing models. I did not say 4 inches for Freetown. That's what the model was showing. I think there are a lot of details to still work out. Again, and answering questions about if schools are going to be out at this point, guys, that's just so premature. This is a very general overview um, of what to expect. And again, this is more of a Tuesday snow, by the way. So if schools were to be canceled, it would be a Tuesday early dismissal, maybe. Even at that point, you would be a little bit too late. And then Wednesday morning closures. I've already answered Owensboro. I said they could see some again in that blue area. Lexington's obviously in our highest area right now of confidence. Yeah, Aaron, I just wanted to make that very clear for everyone else in the chat. I knew you've been in here so long. I know you knew better, but I want to make that very clear for everybody else. What about ice? Is that a possibility? Amy, that's a great question. There will absolutely be a sort of a flash freeze to occur. So there will be a lot of slick spots for a lot of folks, especially where you see the heavier snows. As far as freezing rain and ice specifically, I don't see that happening because our temperatures at each layer for the majority of this event will be slightly above freezing for a lot of folks, like at 33, 34 degrees. And it doesn't really support ice. You really need to get to about the 31, 30 degree marker to support freezing rain and ice cleanly. But there will be some slick spots, even if you don't see a whole lot of snow because of a potential flash freeze, depending upon how temperatures act after the system ends. How will ground temps affect this event? Probably not too much. I think most ground temps, I can actually pull it up right now. If I could type correctly. What did I do to the website here? Most ground temps, I believe, are in the mid 30s to upper 30s. I believe. Oh my goodness, they moved websites again for the gazillionth time. They're always moving websites. Okay. So yeah, here we go. Sorry, it took me forever to find this. But here are ground temps, for example, and it's kind of hard to see. I know. Let me see if I can click on it and kind of get you. Actually, I have not seen this. I've been using the old website for a while. I actually like this website. So here's like the E Town, for example. Well, actually, that's not E Town. That is Litchfield, for example. Average air temp is 31 degrees. A pavement tip is 49 degrees, 47 for subsurface. Here's E Town, for example, where average air temp is 33.8 so far. Average placement or a pavement tip max is, wait, that's pavement tip. Am I reading this incorrectly? They've changed this website and now I have to go through and figure out how to read it again. But anyway, most surface temperatures are in like the upper 30s for your grounds. For your pavement temperatures, usually those are about 5 to 7 degrees warmer. So you're probably looking at the low to mid 40s in a lot of places. But the snowfall will likely be heavy enough if in a lot of these places that will overcome those surface temperatures, just like we saw a couple of weeks ago when we had those lighter amounts of snowfall come through. And we're talking about those heavy, wet snowflakes. So those accumulate a little bit better because they act a little bit more like glue, a little bit more sticky. So this will be the type of snowfall that should accumulate regardless of the ground temps, especially if it comes down hard enough. Mindo says, fun to be tracking snow this early with decent amounts. Even hopefully somebody gets a good amount. I do think there will be a few counties that absolutely sees a winter storm out of this. Winter storm, by the way, is again 4 inches or more. And the way that these usually set up, there's usually a few counties that sees that. It's gonna be really hard to nail that down though. It's 21 Rainville right. Yeah, it is cold out there. Jenna, I appreciate that very much. Again, I don't really see. I still see a lot of ice questions, guys. I don't see any freezing rain with this, so ice amounts are not really anything that I'm concerned with right now. This is mainly going to be a rain, or either a plain rain, sleet, snow, or some mixture of the three. As far when you're talking about ice, you need freezing rain to come down. That does not look like a possibility with this setup, given the temperature profiles at the different layers above our head and here at the surface. Timing for Tuesday right now looks to be late morning to early evening for the peak of the snowfall. But again, that's that timing as well as amounts and track can absolutely change and shift around. Yeah, Ambrose. Ambrose asked, could you see daytime snow with UV rays out, mostly grass rather than pavement? I think regardless of when this comes down, I think you're going to see road accumulations because again, you're talking about heavier snow, wet snow can accumulate a lot better. Now, obviously, if this were to come at nighttime, like let's say Tuesday evening once the sunset comes, obviously the amounts would be more efficient, or the snow would be more efficient, so the amounts would go up. I do think if it comes through the peak of the heat of the day, you can see a little bit of lighter amounts, but I don't think it's really make that drastic of a difference. When do I think I'll be more sure about snow totals? Probably Sunday afternoon. And then, of course, as we get closer, each 6 hours as we get closer, we get a new set of model runs. So, again, as we get closer, we'll get a really good idea. I do think after tomorrow, once we get through tomorrow, I know we won't be affected a whole lot. But again, the snowfall amounts that happen up here to our north, Indiana, Ohio, Illinois, Missouri, that will greatly impact where the track of the next system goes. So once those amounts are kind of almost finished and start to get put into the computer data starts to ingest that. We'll get a better idea of the track of the next system, the temperatures that we'll be dealing with. Because of course the wind will be downstream blowing a little bit. A lot of different moving parts with this. But once that system tomorrow finishes up for those folks up to the north of us on Sunday morning as well, we'll get a really better idea. So I think Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, especially by the absolute latest Monday morning, we'll have a really decent idea of what to expect for the Tuesday afternoon snow system. Ambrose, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. You can always message us. We can get something set up to exclusively provide you with some information. I was hoping for an end all be all blizzard tomorrow. No, I don't. Yeah, especially for us. No, yeah, but up there to our north, you're talking about 8 to 12, even 15 inches of snowfall in some places up there to our north for a November snow system. Man, that's incredible. That is an incredible system that's happening tomorrow. If you guys didn't know, and now won't affect us very much. We'll see mainly a cold rain, maybe some flakes on the front side. But tomorrow to our north, man, I am jealous if you're a snow lover, because it looks incredible. It looks incredible for a November snow system. More snow to the north brings colder air a little to the south, right? A little bit, if you're very close to it. It more so, guys, when you have multiple systems that are very close like this, weather systems and low pressures don't like to go over the same areas that have already been hit, especially in the wintertime, in the snow and the cold. So they will usually go just south. So while it doesn't really affect us temperature wise too much, it absolutely affects the next snow system because it doesn't want to go where it was already hit. Very rarely it happens, but very rarely do you see the same area get hit by major snowstorms within a 72-hour period back to back. It's pretty rare. Again, we're not talking about snow amounts right now, guys. It's irresponsible. It's too early. But again, I'll pull up the snow confidence map for you. This is our confidence in at least 1 inch of snow occurring. And I will post this map as well so you can zoom in and see it a little bit better. Who wins tomorrow, Ohio State or Michigan? I don't really see a way Ohio State can win or can lose that game. That defense is special. Those wide receivers are special, and that Michigan quarterback is extremely overrated. The older I get, the less fun snow is. I don't know, man. I love snow. So should we want any snow in Kentucky tomorrow or no? No, you don't want any snow in Kentucky tomorrow. I mean, you can, guys. Even if we do see some snow tomorrow, which some folks will start as a few snowflakes tomorrow and then eventually go to rain, it wouldn't be anything. It wouldn't be anything major. What you're rooting for, if you want this snow system to really produce on Tuesday, is you want the heaviest snow bands to really try to get down into South Illinois, Southern Illinois, Southern Indiana, and Southern Ohio. That would try and force the low pressure to go under Kentucky, basically into Tennessee, and then wrap out to the Appalachian Mountains on Tuesday afternoon. And on the backside of that is where all the juicy snow is. For Grant County, once again, I think that's an area where we could see some snowfall. But again, I think it's a little bit too early to see exact amounts. Okay. So that's going to do it for us here. I think we've spent enough time on this broadcast, kind of breaking down some things here, guys. I just want to say before we wrap up this broadcast, thank you guys again so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, go check out our Wintercast video. It's only 5 minutes long on YouTube and Facebook, and it actually highlights this event a little bit. I actually saw it quite in advance, and it talks a little bit about how this winter could be a lot like this, where it's a lot of battle zones and a lot of setups. So if you did miss this broadcast, once again, I'll have this map posted. I'll do a little bit of a brief breakdown on it. And of course, you can watch it on playback on Facebook and YouTube and skip through and get to the sweet spots here. But at this point, again, just want to let you guys know this is more of a general overview video. We'll talk more about amounts potentially on Sunday if things still look pretty good, and of course, especially as we lead into the potential snow event on Tuesday. I'm George Herbert, Chief Forecaster, here with Weather Now Kentucky. Thank you so much for tuning into our broadcast. Until next time, stay safe, friends.